All right, welcome once again, everyone, to this month's Jumpstart Your Business webinar series. We're gonna be talking today about how to turn credit denials into dollars, upselling CreditArmor, DisputeArmor, and keeping clients on board. Right? Are you leaving money on the table? How many out on this call are currently just selling one flavor brand of your monthly credit repair service? And every now and then you might be doing some credit monitoring and getting some referral fees for that. But do you have a sales pitch to go ahead and supercharge your business to ensure that you're selling and to every opportunity, every product or service that you can offer them? Today, we're going to be talking to Bo Thomas and looking at ScoreCEO, and Bo's got a product called DisputeArmor and CreditArmor, which we've integrated. He is the president of the Credit Law Center, and Bo is going to be presenting his power script to us today. Before we get started, I want to make sure everybody understands our legal disclaimers, and I do want to emphasize that these are our opinions only. Our opinions are based on our experience in our particular businesses within the space, and our intent is to always be 100% compliant with you and the space. We encourage you to validate any suppositions that you may have questions on or doubts with your legal representation. Thank you. So, like I said, we have Bo and we have one of somebody from Score, which you all have probably not met yet, Musfida Hamid. Musfida, can you present yourself to everyone? Musfida?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Tell us a little bit of what about you, what you do at Score, and what you'll be doing today with us.
Hello, I work as a project manager and quality assurance in ScoreCEO, and today I will be showing you about GFE and dispute process.
Awesome. So, Bo, she's going to be presenting the GFE and whole sales process within your portal today.
Okay.
She'll go ahead and do all the ScoreCEO stuff as well. And then we have Bo Thomas. Bo, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? How long have you been in the space, and what you do and why you do it?
Thanks for that introduction, Joshua. Man, I am one of the OGs. It feels like I don't know what that had been, 2010, 2011. I think I met you the first time at Edward Jameson, I think, event. If not, would have been one of the old boot camps, but been around a long time. One thing for me that's been different since the start, my business partner is an attorney, and we do FCRA, FDCPA claims every month. It's a big part of our business. Our credit repair feeds the legal side, and the legal side makes us really good at the credit repair side. But been around since 2009. Had a lot of growth in a few years. We were up to 88 employees at our biggest, and doing about 900 to 1,000 contracts a month. Gotten smaller and grown and shrunk and grown and shrunk and learned a lot from that. Believe I was the first affiliate with Identity IQ. Pretty sure that happened. Was with them for quite a while. Drove our volume with Identity IQ up to, at its top, I think was 17,800 and some change active subscribers. So that was credit monitoring companies or credit monitoring clients every month, 17,000 collectively that were active, which generated a lot of revenue for us, and learned a lot of things not to do in the space, and what works and what doesn't. So been around a while. After we couldn't get Identity IQ to do what we wanted to do as a company, that's when we started to build CreditArmor, and we're able to build our own brand with credit monitoring that we drive all of our clients to as well.
That's right. That's right. So Bo also has integrated DisputeArmor. I'm sorry, CreditArmor, and therefore DisputeArmor to ScoreCEO. So it has an advanced integration. I mean, Identity IQ integrates with ScoreCEO, but not the same way CreditArmor does. You have the one-click pulls from with CreditArmor. You also have the use of the new feature for the credit audit, where you can just, as soon as you import, you can just right there hit a button and produce a complete credit audit and analysis through our credit audit engine, and the credit report of the client. A lot of that was built by Bo within ScoreCEO, and we've been able to distribute that change to all of you on this call as well. So if you don't have a credit monitoring service, or you don't have a do-it-yourself AI credit repair service to downsell, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Both of those products he also has, as well, as he mentioned. The FDCPA and FCRA versions of that, we are speaking and talking about promoting that within the ScoreCEO fold of companies, and we'll probably have another webinar on that when we're ready to formally launch it. But I would like for anybody who's interested in that to be able to refer customers over to different attorneys. I think if you want to do that, go ahead and type that into the chat and let Jasmine know. And we're taking down names, and we'll probably release to a small group of people first. And you want to be high on that list, because there will be revenue to be earned there as well. So having said that, let's move on to the topic of today's webinar. Have you ever thought or questioned yourself, are you leaving money on the table? Well, this is the problem. If you're not selling every single payment model plan, if you're not downselling or upselling to a do-it-yourself credit repair monitoring solution, if you're not identifying customers for potential litigation issues or other products, ancillary products as well, like secured credit cards and things of that nature, you're leaving money on the table. And it's not that you're offering that. Maybe you are offering that to your customers little by little, right? But this is the way to offer it to all your customers in a way that qualifies them from one step to the other with this killer script that Bo has implemented for all of his salespeople. He said he had 88 people. He doesn't have 88 people today, but believe me, he has the double digits still in there. And he's got a bunch of salespeople that are supercharged with this sales script and implement this on a daily basis. A lot of you have seen how Kate Campbell she was on one or two three webinars last year, and she demoed some of these ways of using the campaign manager to automate things within ScoreCEO. A lot of that was custom built by Bo for ScoreCEO. He has a licensed copy of ScoreCEO, and guess what? Bo's direction inspired Kate to do a myriad of things that we didn't even know we could do in ScoreCEO, but yet she was implementing them. She's a power user of ScoreCEO, and she had some webinars. Go back into our webinar series if you need to see those. You need to see those webinars. Jasmine, where are those webinars listed for our customers and attendees to take a look at if they weren't on them last year?
They're on our YouTube channel of Score Inc. And I'll put the link in the chat that will direct them right to the videos, the webinar videos.
Thank you. So you want to always be, sell everything. In this case, it's CreditArmor, right? You want to sell your credit monitoring. You want to do things legally and ethically, but you want to simplify your process. credit, Bo mentioned earlier, but he was pretty sure he was the first Identity IQ reseller. And he's right, he was, because we were number 2 with my score IQ. And I can tell you one thing, at the time, it was revolutionary. Because at that time, everybody was using either an annual credit report, or they were using, some of them were doing hard inquiries and pulling bureau reports and actually doing an inquiry and damaging their credit because they needed to see all of their credit at any time, right, at that one time. When credit monitoring came out and the proxy pull practice became popular, we preached it, and so did Bo, like a proverb. And then all of these other companies, set themselves up after the fact. But having said that, you have to sell these products because these products are the ones that you're gonna be able to pre-qualify your customers. And in that killer script, Bo's gonna go over that today. You want to offer secure credit cards. You want to offer all payment model plans. Why are you, if you're a monthly customer, why are you calling yourself a monthly customer? That's partly the space's fault, right? Back in the day, software platforms barely supported any other payment model plan other than a monthly service. Now some of them support more than one service. ScoreCEO has supported all three services: pay per delete, monthly, and hybrid, since it was released in 2016. So you can go from a monthly plan within a consumer or customer. You can go from a monthly plan to a pay per delete from 1 month to the next, and from a pay per delete plan to a monthly plan from the following month to the next month, and you can change back and forth. This is very useful, especially when we're looking at customers that we already know that they have no problem not paying their bills, and therefore you could be the next bill they're not going to pay. You need to have alternatives to make it comfortable to do so. And Bo, when we started our endeavor last year and you moved over to ScoreCEO, can you talk a little bit about why you or how you implemented not just selling pay per delete along with all your other services and adding monthly to it, and how that's changed the game for you as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That timeline really came down to I started pay for delete in 2010. And that was my selling point. I identified that as a way to separate myself from competitors in the market and ran with pay for delete. And I did that all the way up until last year and never offered a monthly model. But what I finally realized is I was missing out on opportunities. And what was happening is there were people that couldn't afford the pay for delete model and hoped that the pay for delete model would work, but then when they have a large invoice, they didn't have the funds to pay me. And so I was kind of setting myself up for failure at times. So my outstanding invoices kept growing and growing throughout the years. And my mindset was a lot of this came from the same thing with the DIY was getting bigger and bigger and bigger last year, is being able to offer any client that needs help with their credit score, having a solution for them, right? It's providing solutions rather than selling them something, giving them options and guiding them on the product that's best for them. So the people that couldn't afford my pay for delete option or would have worked better in a monthly option, I can offer the monthly option. And for the clients that can't afford the monthly option, that are just trying to figure out what the next steps are, don't have the money to invest in credit repair right now, then we look at the DIY option. If it's even past that, or there's really not a need for full-blown credit repair, then walk them through the option of the tools that are inside of CreditArmor. So it's really more about getting into an environment from a technical standpoint that would allow me to do all of those things, which led me to Score.
That's awesome. That's probably the best. I couldn't have said it any better, you know. That's correct. You know, he opened my eyes when he wanted to implement this, because I was in the habit of pigeonholing some of our customers, right? And we taught our salespeople that way. We don't do that anymore. I mean, why not leverage the power of ScoreCEO to give you the opportunity to attend to customers both in the monthly or in the pay per delete realm, or both, right? This gives you the ability to go ahead and upsell or downsell and then convert that customer over. And we really weren't taking advantage of that. We either had pay per delete customers, or we had most of them which were monthly recurring customers, right? Why not sell both? There are customers that don't want to pay for a monthly fee, but they'll be willing to pay a fee based on the results after the results have happened. The question is, do you have the infrastructure and the technology to support that, to make sure that you're not spending an inordinate amount of time to be able to manage those case files? Well, ScoreCEO takes care of that for you. We have good faith estimates. We have automated monthly bill, automated calculation or invoicing for monthly billing. So based on the deletions or repairs, it tells you what your fees will be based on the payment model plan. One other thing that we support in ScoreCEO is we tie a payment plan to a customer, and within that customer, that plan can change dynamically at any point in time. So it's very versatile, very, very sophisticated invoicing and billing platform for that, so that you can grow not only vertically, but horizontally as well with regards to products and services. But then that comes to, how do you explain all that to a customer? Well, that's what today's webinar is at. This is a snippet of the scenario infographic, and there's you'll see the huge script, and I tried to. It's so long. I tried to do a flow chart like this around it. I stopped last night and I went ahead and asked one of our UI UX designers to go ahead and just start creating it separately and provide you guys with an infographic and a complete copy of the power script, which Bo has authorized to release to everyone on this call. Okay, so thank you, Bo, for that. Okay.
You're welcome.
Let's go ahead and see. Go ahead.
Keep in mind, the reason this is so long, you know, a lot of times you don't want to go into an environment where your sales script is really long. It really is. It's all 4 products.
That's right.
It's a sales script for CreditArmor. It's a sales script for DisputeArmor. It's a sales script for a monthly model. It's a sales script for the pay for delete. And as you walk through this script, you're going to identify what product this consumer needs early on in the sales script, and that way it's short. So you'll never use every letter or word of this sales script on any one client, right? You're only going to use whatever of the 4 products you're offering that fits for them. So it does seem pretty massive, but keep in mind, you're only going to use a quarter of it per client. So
yeah, and it's words, right? When we speak, I think if we speak 1 minute, I think that's close to 100 words, right?
Yeah.
So if we speak like 15 minutes, that's that's a lot of words, right? But it's really your average time on this script for your salespeople. How long are they on that script while subscribing them to credit monitoring and while going through their their Q&A process and pre-qualification process? How much on average? How much do they spend?
Great question. Our what we call on our end is a 1-call close. Yeah. We get them on the phone, walk them through credit monitoring, get a copy of the credit report, do the consultation, agree on what product is best for them, is 41 minutes. Our average 1-call close is 41 minutes, and that's contract turned in. That's ID documents uploaded, contract signed, GFE committed, soup to nuts, 41 minutes.
So what time do you know what time it takes them for the customer to say, yeah, I want to go ahead along, with a product?
So our full-blown credit repair, that monthly model or the pay for delete model, that's that 41 number, or 41 minutes is our average 1-call close. If we go into the situation and they don't have time to sign up for credit monitoring while you have them on the phone, we've got obviously a campaign built out for that is working to get that. So once you've got a copy of the credit report, you're going to shave about 15 minutes off of that 41-minute time frame. But your closing ratios, you'll start to measure them differently, right? So instead of my closing ratio, if I had 100 leads and I closed 33 clients, you're going to look at, hey, I had 100 leads and I closed 90% of them on CreditArmor. I closed, 14% of them on DisputeArmor, and I closed 42% of them on monthly or pay for delete, right? So you'll measure a closing ratio on multiple products, right? And so you're going to sell CreditArmor to everybody that buys any actual credit repair product, which that way, that's always going to be your highest, but the rest of that pie is divided up of your other products, which gets you revenue. Even on your turn downs, even if you don't sell them a credit repair product, our average client, because of the tools and our support in CreditArmor, our average client is 7.7 months. So if you get them to sign up for CreditArmor, on average, they're going to keep that 7.7 months, and you're going to get your residual income for 7.7 months.
Yeah.
So
let me explain to you one of the things with the CreditArmor, for DisputeArmor and CreditArmor. If you want to become a partner and support that and use that credit monitoring service, this is a white label version of Smart Credit, but on steroids. They've added things to the information that they need, right? They have a partner program, and we'll give you the links to do that, right? But the thing that really it excites me, and I've experienced this, is the level of support, right? In two ways. Number one, with Smart Credit, you're supposed to provide that support to your customer if you're a white label. But if you're not a white label and you're just a co-brand, they provide the support. They provide the support for you and every other partner and lottie-dottie that they have there as well. So they're not really, I mean, though it's to their benefit to retain those customers, they really don't have a great retention strategy for them. And one of the things that surprises me is, as soon as a customer calls in to cancel, they ask why. And why don't you go ahead and explain that for both the DIY and the CreditArmor product, and they save a bunch of deals. That keeps your revenue flowing.
No, absolutely. Great question. We open up with, obviously, absolutely, we can do that for you. But as I'm working through that, I want to ask you why. And my support team, while they're looking at the why, they're also looking at what products, what features they've used inside of CreditArmor. And we then do what we call the four dice. We start to walk them through, oh my goodness, well, I hate to see that you're only using 20% of the product. You didn't use our Privacy Master. You didn't use the Score Boost. You didn't use any of the Score Builder features. You only accessed the Smart Credit Reports. You didn't use your 3B. So we start to build value in all the things that they didn't use. And we also, the first thing we do is we run the Privacy Master scan while we have them on the phone. So as they're telling us their why they want to cancel, we start to point out that, did you realize your information is showing up on 38 sites where your information is being bought, sold, and traded? Like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. We start to walk them through Privacy Master. You never utilize Score Boost. So we start to train them on the features that we have, and that's what helps us retain more than anything else.
Yeah, I was impressed with the retention level, and I saw the numbers. I mean, I didn't see the number that Bo gave me. I saw the actual report from Smart Credit. I mean, it was like way up there in like the 70 percentile range, and or more. And you know, and we're a Smart Credit partner as well. And when we looked and compared to that to ours, it's totally different. And we provide support for our customers as well, but it becomes a task, it becomes a job, and to do that well, we're a great service company, but it's just another thing that we have to do. That's why I love CreditArmor and DisputeArmor as well. The FCRA litigation, that's, they have attorneys across the US, or that are able to engage across the U.S. One of the things that they do have is that they already have an established, let's say, process and they're talking to if they're talking to a Midland Credit, and I'm not saying that is an agreement, they already have they know who to talk to and who to negotiate with, and they already have preset agreements because they trust each other. And sometimes they find failures or issues on the reports, and they just substantiate that to their partners. And there are pre-agreed fees on these things to get them done quickly. So the customer gets the benefit, possibly free credit repair, maybe some money. If what we hope to do and encourage is to legally provide a mechanism to be able to refer customers to them in a certain way, so that it's legal and ethical to do. But when you do that, there are going to be, we did this back in the day when my ex-partner Joel Pate was alive, and I think we were one of the first to offer that, right? And I think they were, and it wasn't as sophisticated as this. This is a real attorney group that's what they've been doing since 2010, right, with the Bose company. But I think we were closing probably and paying out $250 or something like that, or $200 or something like that to every CRO. And we had CROs that were making, 5-10 grand a month on just referrals alone, because it goes through the process, right? They didn't have prearranged agreements. They didn't have experience in the market. It was all new. Well, he's been in the market for 10 years, so you can imagine how quickly some of these cases go through the process. Some take longer than others because it's a legal process, but it is what it is. Okay, if you want to participate, put your name and number in the chat and let Jasmine know today, because we're going to launch this in the next month or so, and this is going to be big. Okay, this is a good revenue center for you. Paper delete and credit repair services, and monthly and hybrid as well. You can change back and forth, and secured credit cards as well, right? If you don't have that, Jasmine, go ahead and post a secured credit card offer in there in the chat, so somebody can go ahead and click on that link and subscribe and start offering some of these secured credit cards that report to the CRAs. Thank you. So let's go ahead with the script. Let's look at the power script, sales script, right? So this is, I edited, I just added some fluff to it, right? But you tell me what you want to start, where you want to start.
No, I'll kind of just dive in, and as we kind of walk through it, the intention first is really to guide the consumer through the process. There's really one thing you're going to sell. The rest of it is you're advising and guiding. And that one thing that you're selling is the opportunity to get a copy of all 3 credit reports for just $1. All you're selling is the one thing for $1. And once you simplify that mindset, that's when your closing ratios start to go through the roof. And as long as you've structured your business in such a way that you have a product that can fit for everybody's budget, right? Some people can only afford the credit monitoring option. Some people can only afford the DIY option, or monthly, or pay for delete. So as you walk them through, the first thing that you want to do is build a little bit of rapport, make them feel comfortable. And what is the easiest way to do that is let them know that you're in the right place. Inform them that you help people like them each and every day. We often see that some people don't even need full-blown credit repair. All they need is credit optimization, which is your way to build in the value for just $1, right? So once you've found out their why for credit repair and built a little bit of rapport, you go into the pitch. And even though we're going to look at multiple pages of information here, the real sales pitch, the only part that I really consider the pitch is for just $1, right? So one thing I do, which this might not be able to be utilized by all of you, but one other thing that I build, one way in which I have the power to build, is before I start talking to them about what's on their credit report or what items are there, I ask them if they're getting called by debt collectors. Because if they are a client of Credit Law Center, those calls have to stop. Or if they start to get calls, those are going to be a violation of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which is an E8 claim of contacting a represented party. So I asked them, let me ask you a quick question. Are you getting any calls by debt collectors? They answer yes, awesome. I say that kind of jokingly, but that can really work in your favor if you move forward with us. Once you are under contract with us, you're being represented by a law firm. And if a debt collector contacts a represented party, it's a violation of the FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And that could result in up to $1,000 in your pocket. If they answer that question, are you getting called by a debt collector, to no, I jump in and obviously have a response for that. I was like, well, that's great. Be sure to let us know if these calls start. And it really is common that they do if you move forward with credit repair. Once you sign a contract with us, you're being represented by a law firm. If the debt collector contacts a represented party, that's a violation of the FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And that could result in up to $1,000 for you. So what I've done before I've sold anybody here, I've literally built value in the process. I've got them interested. I know that I can stop the pain of getting called by debt collectors, or if they do get called by debt collectors moving forward, it can be worth up to $1,000. So there's 3 things to always remember about a sale. You got to have 3 things in order to get a sale, regardless of what you're selling: a widget, a car, a house, credit repair, life insurance. You got to have a need, you got to have a want to, and they have to have the means. So the fact that they responded to one of your advertising or reached out online or however they got to you, there's the need. They know that they need credit repair. What you really want to focus on at the beginning is the want to, building up the value in what you're going to be able to do for them. And that helps build up the want to. And the rest of the script is what helps you qualify whether they have the means or not. What means do they have will dictate what product is best for them. So, but that's where I'm walking through at the very beginning. And typically once you get through this first part of building a little bit of rapport and you ask a few questions, and you're asking questions, you want to focus on not talking about the credit report. You're going to lose control if they start to tell you what's on their credit report, or I've got this one collection, and be like, okay, they're going to start to ask questions about your process. And some of those are going to be like, how much does it cost? How long does credit repair take? What makes sense, or what makes your credit repair service different, right? You're going to get these, they're trying to qualify you, right? Or they're going to start to talk about, can you get bankruptcies removed? Can you get this? Can you get that, right? Whatever that question is, the response or the answer to whatever that question is the same, right? So
Yep.
How much does it cost? How long does it take? Can you get bankruptcies removed? Whatever they ask, you repeat that question to them going, hey, that's great. A lot of people ask, can I get bankruptcies removed, right? Which is a great question. A lot of people ask. That's why
that's the Ben Franklin close, isn't it?
Yeah. You repeat their question, you're validating their question and building value in what they're asking you, but your answer to all the questions at this point is the same, right? And that's why for just $1, right? Let's say it's bankruptcies, or how much does it cost, right? You're going to put in some word phrase there of, well, every credit report's different, but that's why. Can I get bankruptcies removed? Yeah, we can get some bankruptcies removed, some we can't, but that's why, right? Repeat their question to them and go straight into the one thing that you're pitching, which is for just $1, I'm going to get a copy of all 3. Right? So that's why for just $1, I can get a copy of all 3 of your credit reports. Then not only I'll walk you through everything you can do on your own to improve your score, but I'm also going to show you exactly how many points you'll gain from those actions. And you'll see when you're going to get those points. On top of that, I'm going to show you how many points available based on me working on the negative information on your report. This whole process takes about 15, maybe 20 minutes. Do you have time to do this now? Right? If they have time, you go straight into enrolling them into CreditArmor. If they don't have time, right, that's when you need to have an email campaign set up inside of Score that you're like, no problem, I'm going to email you a link, right? But also validate what they're saying, right? Like, hey, I totally understand if you don't have time right now. So here's what I'm going to do, right? You want to build value. You're still building value. You're still wanting to increase that want level. right? We know they have the need. We want to increase the want level because we haven't found out the means yet, right? So you're going to build value in the link you're going to provide, right? Make sure you use that email, the link inside that email, because that's the only way you're going to be able to access all 3 credit reports for just $1. It's a unique link, right? If you just go straight to creditarmor.com, you're going to pay full freight, right? But if you use my unique link, you're going to get a 7-day trial for just $1. You're going to get a copy of all 3, right? And then I'm going to walk you through. Once you've created an account, just shoot me a quick email with your password you set up. Your username is going to be your email, so I'll already have that on file. After that, we can set up a quick 15 to 20-minute consultation review and go over next steps. Go ahead and schedule that review, right? Work through the fact of, now am I going to wait for them to set up the credit repair? Going, okay, you don't have 15, 20 minutes right now. I totally understand. You're at work. You're coming back from lunch. I'm going to email you a link, right? You're going to use that special link because that's what gets you all 3 for just $1. Now let's go ahead and schedule our consultation. Go ahead and commit to that, right? So they're going to put pressure or value on them, creating a CreditArmor account, emailing you back that username and password because you've got a call schedule with them tomorrow or later on that evening, right? Build value in that email. That makes them go, okay, that email is important. I'm not going to just wait till it comes through. I'm going to start looking for it. I need to have that done before my next call, right? You're building value in the emails. That's the most important thing when you can't get them signed up while you got them on the phone. But once you get a copy of the credit report, whether it's while you're on the phone with them or it's through your email campaign and follow-up through Score, you're going to have the same thing, right? You're going to have them in the same place. You've sold the one thing you're selling, which is for just $1, you're going to get a copy of all 3 credit reports. So you've sold the one thing that you've sold, right? You're already sold something. You're going to make revenue on that if they keep it past the 7 days, right? So when you get through the CreditArmor sign up, you're going to username, password, if they've already set it up, or you're enrolling them over the phone. You're going through the security questions and get, right? You're going to be like, great, I'm setting up your CreditArmor account. I need to confirm you received your client portal email. This is an important part of Score, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure that once they've been obviously entered into Score, they're automatically going to get their portal email.
Yep.
You want to have that set up because it's really important down the road. When you send them your offer, they've already been in and they already have it. You haven't have them to chase down an email. They know where it's at. But it's really easy at this point too to get them to do things, right? Because you haven't asked for a commitment. You haven't asked for any money. You've only asked for that $1. So really important that if you're designing these things on your own, that you want to make sure that step is at the beginning of the process, not after you've convinced them on what they need, what you can provide, what it costs, and then have to stumble through the link side, right? So we'll pick back up, right? Great, I'm setting up your CreditArmor account. I need to confirm you received your portal email and you have logged in. As soon as you came into our system, an email was sent to you. Please click on that email and set up a password, and your username will be your email. While you're doing that, I need to enter your personal information and get a few answers to a few questions that CreditArmor so can verify and pull up a credit report. And we're going to do this we can kind of go through pretty quick. You guys don't need me to tell you your name and phone number and address, but it is important to that very last one say, okay, now I need to plug in your credit card info today. They're only going to charge $1. You're going to need a copy of all 3 reports and your scores to start a 7-day trial. After that trial membership, it's $26.99 a month. If you move forward with credit repair, you're required to keep a membership active while we're working on your file. If you don't move forward with us, you can always cancel your membership and end before the trial, and you'll only be out the $1. What card would you like to use for that today? Right? That's now you've got payment information. You've got payment information before you've even priced your services, right? Because you've got payment information because you sold the one thing that you really need to sell, which is I'll get a copy of all 3 credit reports for just $1, right? So now you've got them enrolled, you went through the security questions and you're signed up and you're logged in to CreditArmor. or smart credit, or you can probably do a lot of these things with just about most monitoring companies out there, but you're going to miss out on the most powerful part, which is the score boost, right? Because earlier in the sales script, I'm telling them I'm selling them for just $1. I'm going to be able to get a copy of all three, and I'll be able to show you what you can do right here, right now yourself, and how many points you're going to get for that. You want to sell Score Boost every time, not some of the time, all of the time. My salespeople, when I first changed to this script and this process, some of my top performers were like, man, if this guy's a 647 and he can get 92 points on Score Boost,
What do they
why is
need
he going to
me
buy?
for?
Yeah, why is he going to buy credit repair?
Yeah.
You've got to get past that mentality, right?
Yeah.
Because you're building value. In the worst case scenario, if that's the case, you've created a CreditArmor lifer. If they go like, I got 92 points by changing the way in which I paid my credit cards, they're absolutely using CreditArmor, right? But later on, you can explain, yeah, you had 92 points available based on paying down your credit cards, but you might have 150 points available if I removed a few negative items, right? So don't get hung up on I only sell Score Boost after I've sold them credit repair. It's really important, right? Because you're telling them that's what you're going to do. You're providing value by showing them that information, and you just kind of start walking them through that process. So
Yeah,
in this,
I think Score Boost is a product that, since that changes dynamically with utilization ratios and things of that nature, and how they're paying their bills, right? Those are easy, low-hanging fruit that they can do, and that changes month to month based on the amount that they owe. So I think that this is a product that is what keeps them on credit monitoring, not just a credit monitoring product that really just to show is to monitor the dispute account of the accounts being disputed to see if they have been deleted, repaired, or validated or verified. You know, it's much more than that.
absolutely. And what also this does is it teaches the consumer. And if CreditArmor can teach the consumer something, that's one less thing you have to do.
Yeah.
Right. And so you don't have to spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes talking about utilization ratios. And there's two at the bureau level. There's collective and then single, and the difference between TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Well, and it's a mortgage score, it's a Vantage score, it's a version 2, 4, 5, 8, 9, FICO 10T, trended data. I mean, like all this information, right? And most consumers, when you start to give them information about a credit report, it's like drinking water from a fire hose. They're only going to get so much, and they're not going to retain all of it. But you'll see right now, I'm not talking about all three bureaus. I'm not talking about your TransUnion credit scores is 647, your Experian is 658, and your Equifax is this. You kind of need to reduce this information at the beginning, right? And start to hand that to them in cue cards as opposed to dumping all that information, because it's not really relevant to them at this time, right? They're still trying to understand and educate. But you walk them through the process. Here's where we'll pick back up on the script. All right, you've got 85 points available underneath the score builder. Now that shows you how many points are available based on me improving the negative accounts on your credit report, which is what I can work on for you. But what I want to show you first is you have 92 points available on Score Boost, and which those points are by you paying down credit cards. One of the things that is super cool about Score Boost is it shows you exactly when you're going to get these points. Let's look at that now, right? And that's when you click on Score Boost and you go to the plan. And while you're doing that, you're saying, here's a secret people, even in the lending industry, don't know. With credit cards, there are 3 important dates to remember: the due date, the statement date, and the date reported. Most people think the due date is the most important, but the date they report to the credit bureau is the most important. Now, why is that? It's because the date they report your balance is always before the due date and the statement date. Always. That means even if you pay your credit cards off every month on the due date, your report will always show a balance, even if you're paying the credit cards off every month. And believe it or not, credit card companies do this on purpose to keep your score lower because of this. CreditArmor tracks the best pay by date and sends you reminders throughout the month. CreditArmor is the only platform that tracks the report by date. Most lender reports don't even have this information. ScoreBoost is an awesome tool, and you can use this every day, all month long. ScoreBoost is the biggest reason we have our clients use CreditArmor, right? You're saying that and building that value while you've clicked on the ScoreBoost button and got into the ScoreBoost screen. Okay. So that's a little bit of a filler, but also builds value in the one thing that you've sold so far, which is CreditArmor for just $1. Even if you never get this person back on the phone, even if they hang up with you right then and there, there's a really good chance that they're going to keep CreditArmor because you have explained how this is the one platform that has that tool and they can't get that information anywhere else, right? So it's a lot of value. But soon as you get into ScoreBoost, you want to max out the plan, right? And you max out the plan and you're going to say, if you paid off all your credit cards, you would raise your score by 92 points. Now, I assume if you could afford to pay off all your credit cards at once, you'd have already done that. But let me ask you this. How much money could you put towards your credit cards this month to improve your score? This is hugely important. This is the most important thing in this script so far, right? Because what this does is qualifies them. This tells you, based on how they answer that question, what product is best for them, right? If they tell you, hey, I can pay off all my credit cards, I can pay them off tomorrow, right? Awesome. Well, let me show you how many points you're going to get and when you're going to get those points by paying off all your credit cards. That also tells you that that person can afford a pay for delete option. And if they can afford the pay for delete option, they can obviously afford the monthly, right? So they are in total control. They get to choose what product that best suits them and they're most comfortable with, right? But if they say anything less than $200 at my company, because that is what it's $200 to start the wheel and get anything going. I've got a $200 consult fee and I charge $200 a month on my monthly model. So if they say anything like they say, well, like, I'm skimping by, I'm barely able to make my minimum payments and I'm struggling with that with late fees. You obviously don't want to try to sell that person pay for delete, right? Because what are they going to do? They're not going to pay you, right? And you also haven't even priced your monthly model yet, and they're telling you they can't afford it. So rather than spend another 30 minutes with these people on a consultation fee that they can't afford, or trying to sell them a product that they can't afford, going, well, no worries, right? So that's where I understand, money and the economy are tight right now. And while, it doesn't sound like you can budget our traditional credit repair process, I still have a fantastic solution for you. We have the ability to connect you with some incredible AI software that uses the same technology we use in our dispute process. Now, there's a little extra work on your end by mailing some letters, but it's definitely will fit in your budget. And we have had clients get great results. What I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade your CreditArmor account from the Protect plan to the Build plan. Now that's $49.99 a month, and you're still on the 7-day trial, which will give you plenty of time to link the account and confirm it's a great fit for you. We must upgrade the Build plan to gain access to the AI software. I'll email you a link to DisputeArmor, which is really cool and super easy to use. All you'll have to do is create an account and link it to your CreditArmor report. Super easy, and the video on the homepage breaks it down for you. DisputeArmor will scan your credit report, identify mistakes, and suggest the best dispute reason for maximum success. It's super slick and very successful. I'm going to email you that link to DisputeArmor. Make sure you watch the video on the homepage, breaks down and explains the whole process. Their support team is awesome. You can even call me and I can help you. I can help. Does that all make sense? Right? So two things really happen there, right? If the consumer didn't want to tell you they could afford to pay $200, $300, $400, $500 a month, what you've done is you've taken away. Like, oh, well, you can't afford that product, so I'm not even going to go down that road, right? They're like, well, wait a minute, and they'll start to ask you questions. And you're like, well, what if I had $200? I'm like, well, if you had $200, you start to walk them through the process. You'll have a lot of people tell you they can't, and then they can, right? But if they can't commit, you go straight into the DIY and CreditArmor and DisputeArmor. You're still making money. You more than double your commission, your monitoring commission if they sign up for the DisputeArmor. And what'll happen is they'll try it, they'll get some success, they'll keep it. They end up keeping CreditArmor for a very long time. I have people that have had it for 3+ years after using DisputeArmor, right? They see the success and they start to monitor it, and they see the value, they keep it. But if they answer anything less than 200, you go straight to the DisputeArmor product, because that's what they're telling you the only thing they can afford. If it's 200, if they say I've got $200 to $600 to put towards my credit cards in order to improve my credit score, that tells you they're going to fit into the monthly model. If they're 600 or greater, that's going to tell you where you can offer them the pay for delete, right? So once you walk them through that process and they commit to a number, you now know what product you're selling. And the rest of the script is breaking down. If they say this, then you go to DisputeArmor. If they say this, you're going to go to monthly. If you say this, they've got both options, right?
If they have a revolving credit or not, and then go to secured cards, downsell there as well.
Absolutely, yeah, because some of these, when you get on that first home screen, you for just $1, I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do yourself. And if there's no open revolving trade lines, obviously Score Boost is not going to be available. You go straight down to the secured card. You walk them through the secured card, and you walk them through authorized users, right? And spending time explaining the authorized user process is going to increase the likelihood of success, right? You can talk to them about, hey, you got anybody, your aunt, uncle, relative that adds you to a credit card? Like, yeah, I think I got somebody. If that's all you do in that conversation, they got maybe a 50-50 shot, right? But if you spend a little time and say, hey, I'm not looking to have your credit card. I don't want to use it. I'm not going to carry it. I'm not even going to get a copy of it. All you're doing is being asked to add as an authorized user because you want the credit history. You increase that dramatically. And if you're working on negative information and you can get an authorized user added, right? And you can do that in round one. Even if you don't get any deletions, the consumer's seeing an increase in their credit score. Payments improve, consistency improves, value in what you do is improved, consumers happy, right? But the same qualifying question that I use by getting them to commit to how much they can put towards their credit cards, you do the same thing with secured card, right? Because you still don't know. Just because you don't have any revolving trade lines doesn't mean you can't afford a pay for delete model or a monthly model. But let's find out, right? So what I ask is, okay, here's a secured card, right? Secondly, you'll need to establish a secured card. Here's how secured cards work. You'll apply just like any other credit card, but the key difference is you're going to put down a deposit to secure that credit line. Essentially, you're borrowing against your own money. While it might sound a bit unusual, the benefit here is that the credit card company will report your payment history to the credit bureaus, which is exactly what we're aiming for to boost your score. So secured cards are a powerful tool for building and rebuilding credit. And many people have seen significant improvements by using them responsibly. Secured cards are going to start out about $300. Do you have the ability to do that right away, right? If they say yes, you obviously know that they can afford a consult and they can obviously afford the monthly model. If they say no, that's when you go the DisputeArmor route, right? What they tell you and what they can afford is what dictates what product you sell them. That's what all this is designed around, right? Build value with the consumer, make them feel comfortable, find out what they need, then find out what they can afford, and then give them a solution. right? The three things to a sale: got to have a need, got to have a want to, and they got to have the means, right? Most people don't have a product for everybody. And that's what we've designed as a product for everybody. So everybody has the means, right? And the only thing I'm really selling is for just $1, I'm going to get a copy of all 3 credit reports. And then it puts the power in on my side of the transaction to find out if they have the means for what product. Is it my top product? Is it my second product? Is it my third product? Or is it my fourth? Right? And all 4 of the products are providing immense value for the consumer. Right? So
Yes.
that's where you go in and reutilize again of the DisputeArmor. If they don't have enough money for the secured card, plug in the secure card, obviously make a link. You're going to get some affiliate money off your secured cards. You're building value, but you're also creating a customer, right? What we also find is there are a lot of customers that can't afford credit repair right now, that'll start to budget for it, or they go the DIY option for a few months and then come back and say, I've got a few more that I just can't, I didn't get removed. They end up hiring us for credit repair even after they done DIY, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
move them based on what they need and can afford. So now this is where really kind of the magic happens, because now you know what product they need, and you know what product they have the means for, and that's the monthly or the pay for delete, right? This is when you're going through the credit report and you're going to review the credit report with them. The fastest, most efficient way, and this is why I liked and why I went with Smart Credit's platform to build CreditArmor on top of, is the Smart Credit Report. It's a really nice user interface that you can toggle through everywhere. But what I do is I start to, on this page, I'm on the phone with the consumer, and I can really break down their credit report in an impressive way really quickly, right? So I'm going to say you have, and this is just based on this image right here, right? You have 6 negative accounts, 0 collections, 6 inquiries, 1 public record. The report also shows that you have $7,637 in revolving accounts, $252,000 in real estate accounts, and $40,617 in installment accounts. You have 10 accounts in good standing, 7 showing open, 8 showing closed. While I'm doing a lot of different things in the background of what I need to be doing or want to be doing, I'm just truncating the information I'm seeing, but it's impressive. The consumer's like, wow, like they're going through my credit report really fast, right? Now, this is designed to make sure that my consultation with the consumer is giving them everything they need, right? And so what's on their credit report is going to base you on what you need to provide, right? You need to be able to explain everything. So to ensure that, right, I start with inquiries. The most talked about thing in credit repair that means the least is
Yeah.
credit inquiries, right? Everybody
Yeah.
wants to talk about them, and it really is relatively insignificant most of the time.
Yeah.
But, and I know there is for biz credit, and I am an expert on inquiries, but here's what I found is the best, right? So let's take 30 seconds to talk about inquiries. There are 2 types of inquiries: hard inquiries, soft inquiries. Hard inquiries can affect your score when you apply for a car loan, credit card, or mortgage, or any other loan. Soft inquiries happen when someone, your current lenders, view your credit report or a credit monitoring check-in. Soft inquiries don't affect your scores. Viewing your credit report on CreditArmor like we are now is an example of a soft inquiry. You can pull a new credit report daily from CreditArmor. It'll never impact your score. So remember, always keep hard inquiries as low as possible, and you only have a lender pull your credit when you're serious about getting a loan. I've educated them on inquiries, and now I'm starting to go through the credit report. This is rather lengthy, and I don't want to wear everybody out, but what you found, I'll go over the charge-offs and collections first. But now you're on the Smart Credit Report, and you're starting to click through the accounts. If they have a charge-off or a repossession, here's what you say. If they have a collection, here is what you say, right? And collections, I'll break down this one for us. Collections, it's one of the things we have the most success with, because collection companies are the most non-compliant. We first challenge the collections at the bureau level in such a way that causes the bureaus to do an investigation. The good news is we know they only have 3 options when responding: deleted, updated, or verified. If deleted, awesome. We move on to the next account. If verified or updated, that's where the road ends for most credit repair companies, but not for us. This is where the most powerful part of our process begins, by sending them a debt validation demand letter. This letter is a legal document with 6 to 9 questions in it, depending on what type of an account they're collecting. Once the debt collector has responded, we compare those answers to the results received in the mail from the credit bureaus and audit them to find a discrepancy. Since these discrepancies are typically violations of the law, we then use the law as leverage to negotiate a deletion of the account from the credit report. If that leverage doesn't work, it goes to one of our attorneys to review. This process turns the tables around on debt collectors. They go from trying to collect the debt to being shown how they violated the law and they need to delete the account, right? Debt collectors will continue to call. This is where I'm building value on if you're getting called by debt collectors. I've got a little snippet of medical collections as well, only if it's medical collections. But every account that could be negative on the credit report is addressed in this script, right? Derogatory mortgage accounts, late payments, student loans, public records, bankruptcies, judgments, foreclosures, right? You're going to go through, some are going to have every one of those accounts, and you're going to want to tell them and educate them on every one of those accounts. Some are only going to have a collection. They're not going to have any late pays. You don't need to talk about that. And this is what I see most one of the biggest mistakes I see new and even guys or gals that have been in it a long time, they only focus on the negative, right?
That's right.
I've told them what they can do themselves. I've got a commitment. I know they have the means for whatever product I have, but now at the end, before I'm pricing or telling them what product they qualify for, I'm going to walk them through the positive, because it's really important to walk them through the positive and why this account's good, why you never want to go 30 days late. You've already covered utilization because you've shown them score boost, and they know that better than hell some of the credit repair companies out there do, right? So now you've got them. What I do at my company, and obviously you have your own company, you can do whatever way you want. And one of the things that I absolutely adore or love about Score is it gives me this flexibility. I can do all of this, and by a click, a move, a change, whatever, I now am in control of the good faith estimate, right? And I can send them a monthly option and a pay for delete option and let them choose. I'm not selling anything. I'm guiding them down a path. Well, here's what the pay for delete option looks like, and what a total cost could be. Here's
And
what the monthly option looks like.
Right after you complete your presentation, we're going to have, that's why we have Ms. Fida on board. She's going to be going into Bo's ScoreCEO, actual ScoreCEO portal, and she's going to demo how you can import a report, produce a pay for delete plan, and then compare it to another quote for a monthly plan, and send that whole quote to the customer into the ScoreCEO lead portal so that they can approve either one of the plans that they choose to purchase to service themselves with credit repair, which is awesome. It's all automated.
One of the other things too that I'll mention there too, and we can jump right into that, because I think that's where the most powerful part is. What you'll find a lot of times when you're qualifying them, whether it be on do you have 300 for a secured card, or how much you can put towards your credit cards to improve your score, you're going to know what product they're in, right? Or you're going to look at somebody that's got 38 negative accounts and they got $200 towards their credit cards. You don't even need to pitch the pay for delete model, right? And that's what's awesome about Score is I have the ability to just send the monthly model. I have the ability to send just the pay for delete model. I have the ability to send both, right?
And or multiple versions of the same plan.
Yeah, you've got so much, it's so robust. and gives you the flexibility to be able to build a product that can fit into everybody's budget. And that's powerful. And I don't know that exists anywhere else.
No.
But that's what's amazing. I love the good faith estimate ability too, because I'm seeing a better performance in how my outstanding invoices are paid, because it's real. They see that, they understand. I think a lot of people, or there's some credit repair companies out there that are going to like, all right, just let me get my console and let's hopefully I can keep them paying on a monthly basis. The less transparent you are with what it is, the shorter retention you're going to have. You're never going to have great retention by holding back information. So it's really important, and we give you a lot of kind of nuggets of how to explain it. But I think the really important thing would be having Musfira show us the good faith at this point.
Ms. Vida, can you, are you ready?
Yes, let me share my screen.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay, so after importing the report, we will go to the GFP. And from this page, we can select plans. We can select up to 3 GFPs. That's it.
By the way, these are Bo's actual plans. I mean, this is his portal. Go ahead.
We can select plans. After that, click on Get GFP. This way you can see both plans in CRO portal, monthly and PPD. And to send, we will simply hit save and send.
Let's stop there for a minute and go, and I want to review that. Do you see at the top now it says pending? So that little orange thing there is waiting for the customer to sign. If the salesperson is not in control of, and it's not a one call close, it just happens at 12 o'clock at night, and the salesperson logs in the next morning, it's going to change that status from pending to what, Ms. Vida?
Nothing, it will stay pending.
No, if they approve and sign at the
Oh,
lead portal.
in that case, it will be approved.
Approved. Okay, and then you'll already know that you've got a deal. That's a deal that the customer has agreed to purchase, right? If you scroll down, can you scroll down? And go to paper delete. In ScoreCEO, you can go ahead and by types of the accounts, you can charge different fees for those accounts, and it automatically sees that report and calculates the individual charges of what it would cost to remove each one of those. As you remove them, those costs get those get invoiced or on a monthly basis, or as the results come in from one month to the next, or sometimes multiple times within the month. If you click on monthly, it pretty much just shows, can you click on monthly? It pretty much just shows what the monthly plan costs and what the consultation fee is, what's due today and what's due every month. If you look at the estimated cost of repair service based on duration, this is why we call it a good faith estimate, right? Just like in the insurance business, the longer you stay on, the more premiums you're going to pay, right, on that insurance, right? And the more time you stay on, the more cost that is involved. We have a 6-month spread here for the monthlies, and you can see what it would cost if you stay on 6 months because it's a fixed value. But if you go over to the paper delete plan, can you go back to the paper delete plan? Yeah, and you look at what the estimated cost is, you can play with the percentage value. The estimated deletion percentage is at 60. If you were to get 60% of the things deleted, these would be the estimated cost values over a year, fundamentally. Start and end date. This is powerful stuff, ladies and gentlemen, because you're just rolling through that. You don't have to have people calculating things, putting it in some spreadsheet somewhere, and spending maybe instead of 30 to 40 minutes on a close, 2 or 3 hours on a close. Some people would say, well, that's going to take all day. Not with ScoreCEO and not with this process.
That was huge for my company, because prior to getting to Score, like I remember showing you what we're doing on how we graded out credit reports prior to that, using a PDF Adobe Writer, and people write 1 collection, 2 collections, 3 collections total, all this moving around. And then I gave my people the ability to discount and, cap contracts. All of that is completely removed. And telling you coming from somebody that's been doing pay for delete since 2011.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, no, technically 2009.
10. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2009. No, you might be right. It could be 10. Anyway, a long time.
Yeah.
That the powerful part of this is also too, you're letting the consumer choose, and then you're really advising, right? And so it's no longer they're making instead of making a sale, right? They're choosing one product or the other rather than, do I have value? You've done nothing but build value this entire time, and you're in a great place with them. And now you're really advising as opposed to selling. And you can literally start to talk about the pros and the cons, which I've got in the script, right? But for example, in this scenario, somebody's like, well, I'm really thinking the month, or I'm thinking the pay for delete, and I'm like, well, all right. If you're looking to pay for delete, again, we talked about the pros and the cons. It could be a big invoice, right? I don't move you on until that invoice is paid. And I'd hate to see us knock it out of the park and you get an $800 invoice in the first round, but it takes you 2 months to pay that, right? And it slows down your credit repair process. For example, you're going to spend a total of $1,400 on the monthly model, and you'll get through my process as fast as humanly possible. Well, that's you betting based on this is if I'm only going to get 30% of the items deleted, right? Now, granted, the pay for delete, you're only going to pay for what items they get deleted when they get deleted, but I feel like I'm going to have a better success than that, right?
Yeah.
And it's a break-even proposition if I'm only get less than 30% of the items deleted. But also, too, you as an ethical credit repair person, you can start to advise them going, I've got a bunch of original creditors that are charge-offs that you don't have as high of a deletion rate as you do on collections. So maybe you're going to like, hey, let's go the pay for delete route. Or there are people that absolutely should be pay for delete clients, in my opinion. In my opinion, would be somebody like we just had a client come in with an American Express charge-off, and we put him on a pay for delete model. Right, he's paying a $200 consult fee, but he's only paying if we get that American Express card deleted. That guy's watching CreditArmor like a hawk. He's going to keep CreditArmor for probably ever. If I get it deleted from 1 or 2 or hopefully all 3 of the bureaus, fantastic. I make a little money. But even if I go through 4 months of the credit repair process and don't get that American Express card deleted, he's not mad at me. He's not frustrated. He doesn't hate my guts and gives me a bad review, right? Because I gave him the pay for delete option. I got a $200 consult. I built a ton of value. He's going to be in a much better place 12 months from now because of my consultation than he would be if he wouldn't have got the consultation. Even though I wasn't successful, I still have a happy client. If you put that person on a monthly model, they are going to end up feeling like they got ripped off.
Yeah.
And that's not good for business.
And you're defending yourself. That's what some of our monthly model customers find themselves continuously defending themselves when they can't, and they feel obligated to go ahead and it's a daily conversation for everybody at Score that provides either customer service or does sales. Anybody who's having conversations with our CROs, even the new ones, but what, okay, I know we can't promise anything, but what's the real average time to get the, they just ask the same question over and over again because they feel compelled to do so. Well, the way to get around that is to set the appropriate expectation from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why you'll have pay per delete customers and you'll have monthly customers, but with ScoreCEO, you can now have them both, and you don't have to give away your pay per delete candidates to another company that offers pay per delete. You can do that now yourself, right? And you have the whole billing system and a whole automated sales system that can go ahead and do that legally and ethically and set the right expectations. And you can do it also for monthly as well.
Yeah, and prime example, and even to go like in that scenario I was just describing with the guy that had the American Express card, We contemplated even putting him in DisputeArmor because at a quick glance, the data last activity was different across all three bureaus. The high balance was different across all three bureaus. And I felt like there's another factor, but DisputeArmor is going to pick that up, and your processors, whether it's scores processors or credit repair, somebody who's creating their first round of disputes, they're going to look at that and they're going to go, "That's what I'm challenging, and that's why." Right? DisputeArmor automatically identifies that for the consumer and creates the dispute based on that. It tells you TransUnion's reporting this, Equifax is reporting that, and you, Mr. Experian, are completely different as well. Do an investigation or delete the account, right? They're drafting, DisputeArmor will draft really, really good disputes. And especially when you've got conflicting information across the bureau. So I could have made an argument to where like, $200 for one account seems high, this or that. I had a product to sell them that is valuable, right? So you really need to put yourself in a position to be able to have a product that would serve all the different types of consumers' needs.
All your buyer personas. Your
Mhm.
buyer personas. Yeah, get it. Go ahead and continue. Show us what this would look like now. This is would be the salesperson discussing maybe with this on a shared video chat or just going over it over the phone with the customer. And while they just sent it, right, Ms. Vita, to the lead. Can you log in as the lead itself and show us what that would look like from that perspective, what the actual lead would see?
Yes. Whenever a lead log into their portal, they can see the notification
Okay.
and then they can see both plans, monthly and pay per delete.
Okay, so what if they choose, let's say, the pay per delete plan there?
Then they have to select that plan and then they have to check this box and approve if they want to approve.
Can you do that, please? So it's approved. Now, can you log back in to the GFE, exactly. And can you refresh this page? Okay, so now it says approved inside ScoreCEO for the salesperson. There is nothing better than a salesperson to come in and see two or three of these on a daily basis or one, because that's just less follow-up, less time on the phone. And this is what ScoreCEO provides. It's just, and this is what a lot of our potential customers don't understand. They see other platforms that just list accounts and they really focus on dispute processing, which, by the way, is the thing that we do. But how we sell and how we make the cash register ring and how we inspire customers to come towards your CRM and be able to capitalize them, that's the magic of the platform. And this is all built around customers. Well, a matter of fact, when we built the pay-per performance or the pay-per delete module, we had the good faith estimate, which is what Bo liked. But as soon as he started using it, he said it needs some changes, Josh. And we went ahead and built all these changes around them, and we published those changes to everyone for every portal for ScoreCEO. So there's probably been over 150 hours in the good faith estimate alone over the last year that we've in development that we've enhanced with an actual pay-per delete custom company that does this at a high level. Okay. So there's a lot of things that you can see the proposal history as well. Can you click on the proposal history? So sometimes you send a lot of different proposals. You can view these proposals in history. So if you send 2, 3, 4 proposals, you can probably take a look at these as well to refresh your memory. You sent me the last one, but I want the one from the previous proposal. You may be able to see that here, right? So it's just very, very, very useful, very useful. I want you to go over to this same customer and go to leads and consumers. And just choose this customer and or go to the actual where all the leads and consumers are real quick. within the leads and consumers and click on this customer that inside of it, you can see, scroll down, new things that have been added to Score. No, click on Musfira Ache, please, or whomever you were at. Okay, you can see that the new status field that carries along with you is at the top, giving you a bunch of useful information. That's new. You can scroll down. I want you to see the workflow process. You can see that these workflows mark themselves as complete as you complete them. So this is basically dictating what that process is. Now, if you have ScoreCEO and you don't see these exact names, well, it's because you probably haven't customized your workflow, which you can. And Kate has done that. It's part of the workflow for every customer. If they go to client intake, they've got probably a script there as well. Do they have a script defined at the top? They've got a script there, and she did it in a PDF document. So the salesperson can go ahead and click on that script real quick. And if they forgot what they need to say on the step, they're quickly reminded. Okay? They're quickly reminded, and this is a whole document that is linked from one place to the other for you to go. This is for your salespeople. It's a process, a DIY process. So it's really hard for the salesperson to say, "I forgot," and that's on every single step. Okay, I just wanted to show that. I've got nothing else to talk about this. Masfira, do you have anything else to add based on the GFE?
We can set up campaigns so that you can keep yourself up to date. Like whenever you send a GFE to customer, you can set up your campaign to receive an email or send email or add tags or notes. And whenever a customer approves GFE, you can also set up another automation. And if they reject, same way you can set up another email or notes inside the campaigns.
So you can really automate the follow-up process, and not only that, when they do sign, you can automate the new relationship that you're going to have. Now they change from a lead, and you're not going to talk to them in a sales perspective. You're going to talk to them as their partner in their credit repair journey now, right? So the whole tone can change via email and text. They also can send texts, right, through text better, right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, awesome. Anything else to add, Masfira? Okay, awesome. So right here, you're showing how to create GFE approved as a template, and you're showing them how to do customizations within the description. This is creating basically a to-do, right?
Yes.
And this is like a task.
GFE is approved, whenever a GFE is approved, and a to-do will be added for the customer salesperson for the next step.
And that's the salesperson that was assigned to that customer, so it'll fill that in automatically.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and that's just the one. Is how many steps are in that campaign?
3.
3 steps. So it does the to-do, it does a canned note, so it annotates something automatically into the customer's file based on the step. And then what else does it do? It creates a to-do, and what's the first step?
It removes the previous tag.
It removes the previous tag, which is probably another tag, and it removes the tag awaiting GFE. So now that customer is going to be unenrolled from a campaign that is awaiting the GFE.
That goes into the next, which is contract.
It goes into the next step, which is a contract, automatically, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what the power of tags does, and combining tags in the workflow steps does for you as well.
Yeah, that the power of that is the removing and adding it. You can build a system to where nothing falls through the cracks. It's not you as a manager going, "Oh shit, that's been sitting there for 6 days," right?
Yeah.
What happened? Somebody went on vacation, or a processor got sick, or a salesperson hadn't logged in. You can prevent that and perfect that with automation, and
Absolutely.
by making sure that every client is going to walk through the exact same process as the next person, right? I always use somebody smarter than me can be like peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? we're all credit repair companies and we all do credit repair, right? And everybody could make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but the way I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich may be different than this person. But consistently being able to do it at the same time and to ensure nothing gets missed or dropped is the only way you're ever going to get to the ability to scale and to increase, is by making a streamlined process. This happens every single time, every time, is the only way you can scale.
That's like the Mickey D's, the McDonald's, the franchise model, right?
Yeah.
Just repeat it and be great at doing
Yeah.
at doing one thing or a couple of one things, right? So
Mhm.
thank you for that. All right. Anything else that you want to demo, Ms. Frida?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and take control back. Thank you, by the way. All right. So, any questions till now? Any questions from anybody and or anybody has posted in the chat, Jasmine?
Let me double check. Bear with me one moment. I think there was only just a question at the beginning, which was, are they paid before the call, or you're closing them before they pay? So that was at the beginning of the meeting.
So at the beginning of the script, let me scroll the script all the way to the top. I disclosed, to answer that, the lead, this is the scenario, the lead has followed the TS telemarketing sales rule, right? Or the CRO is not bound by CROA or to CROA. So if you're bound by CROA, they have to already have gone through the telemarketing requirements, sales rule requirements, which are, number one, they're going to choose what they're going to buy. But remember that the credit monitoring products are not credit repair plans. You get it? So there's a fine line here, and this is why we believe that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau needs to really clarify a lot of these things, because that immediately makes every single credit monitoring company a potential violator of the TSR, which, especially if they offer anything regarding credit repair. Or so that just, that's iffy. So that's why I want to be clear on this. Either they've gone through the TSR, or the CRO chooses not to be bound is not bound to the CROA, like Bo's company.
Yeah.
Bo is he's bound to CROA, but he's able to do certain things as an attorney group, like take retaining fees and things of that nature, and talk to their customers, because they're not just selling credit repair. They're selling credit repair as one of the many products that they sell, and they are a legal firm. They're an attorney group.
One thing that I would add to that too is that I would agree that it's definitely, until we get more clarity from the CFPB, if that ever even happens.
Yeah.
Is that when you look at it from the monitoring standpoint, or your position as a company, you're in a better place and again, if you're making your peanut butter and jelly sandwich the exact same way every time,
That's
and
exactly
the
right.
only thing that you're pitching and selling is for just $1, I'm going to get a copy of all 3 credit reports. That, in essence, is your initial sale. And does that make you ironclad? No. But is there anything out there that truly does, with the amount of confusion and lack of transparency that we have? I think it puts you in a better position for darn sure. So
Absolutely. I think there was another Rose. Rose Lewis, I can think it is. I'm glad that you love the script. We're going to send that script to you. Make sure that you ask for it in the chat, Lewis. And then I think they're asking another question. Where can we find this awesome script? We're going to give it to you. I offer funding to my clients and credit repair services an option if needed. Am I bound to CROA if my initial approach is funding? I'd like to hear Bo's version of that, right? And before we give you answers to that, I want to disclose these are our opinions, and I would suggest that you get a legal, that's a legal consult. We're giving you only our opinions, but we're OGs in this space. We've been around. And
Yeah.
I've actually been engaged by my local regulator, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Okay, I know a little bit about being in court with them. It's really like pulling teeth. None of the regulators really know how to look at credit repair once you start challenging them and giving them suppositions that they look at it completely different, right? Bo, what is your opinion on that? If she's doing funding, and she's offering additional services like credit repair and charging for them, I'm assuming, can she do that?
I think that, the tough part, and same thing with legal questions are, if you're operating in this state, the answer may be, sure, I think you're fine, even though CROA is federal, because you got to be careful that you don't see state laws that are going further than CROA, right?
Like
So
California law.
yeah, state laws can reach past federal laws, and therefore, but you only have to comply with those laws in that specific state. Even they can reach further than federal. Now, a federal law, which CROA is federal, doesn't matter what state you're in, you have to comply with CROA. I think, in my opinion, I think it puts you in a better place. There's nothing out there to me that tells you that that is a black and white issue. And until the courts rule on that, and I think sadly it could possibly go either way. And this is coming from somebody that's spent years defending a class action lawsuit that we won against us, hell, I won, but I didn't win anything. I won a bunch of attorney's fees I paid defending it. But fundamentally, what I go to in these situations is, sadly, I can't give you a yes or no, even from an opinion standpoint. Does that put you in a best place? I think it's gray. The same way that my argument would be that I'm offering credit monitoring for $1, and I'm going to be able to tell you what you can do yourself. How that could be encompassed inside of CROA. I think you're in a little bit better position when you're just talking about funding, and then a part of the need in funding is the credit repair process. So I think you're in a better position. But I think I would look back and view fundamentally is how you're operating as a company. The people that get in trouble are the companies that are not doing right by consumers. Everybody can hate Lexington law, and in my opinion, you rightfully should. But when you really dig into like what they get in trouble for, was it really the TSR or was it CROA? That's what they used. But what they got in trouble for was they were flat out lying to clients about clients were coming in thinking that they were inquiring about an owner finance on a house that then they were sold credit repair. So
exactly. Not only that, they had affiliates that were setting the wrong expectation. Oh yeah, will that be
just
customers are going to ask?
Consumers and creating a lead, getting paid a fee for that. So what they were doing was that was truly harming consumers. So you're offering funding, and a part of the funding may be a credit repair process to increase your fundability. I think you're in a good place. That to me doesn't look like some regulator is going to try to remove you from the face of the earth for that. But unfortunately, there's no yes or no, black or white answer, in my opinion, of that.
I want to add to that on the back end, on the back end of that. Think about this way, Luis, is the following. When we created ScoreCEO, there were no laws that were even talking about like who told us to come up with a good faith estimate. It was just, we started looking at ways to self-regulate ourselves through software. We said, since I had so many issues with the regulators and I had to explain myself over and over again, and more importantly, I had to unemploy 30 families. You know, we had a huge credit repair business, and that really devastated me and devastated the families that were working with us, that were happy to work with us. We were doing awesome. And the problem with that is that what regulators fundamentally want to see is that you have a clear intent to self-regulate. Even if you're wrong and you place self-regulation in place, they'll look at that as a positive thing all the time. Another thing that ScoreCEO does, it tracks a lot of things that if you're uncompliant within those workflows, it's going to log them. And if a regulator comes in and sees that you took a payment before you gave the consultation, which is timestamped, they're just going to see it because you're going to give them access to ScoreCEO. They're going to request it legally. You're going to have to provide it. And guess what? They can go ahead and see that. So if you do the right thing in a gray environment like the one that you're in right now, I truly believe that that will serve you better than not being that way at all.
I'd add to that too, just from personal experience, and to speak a little bit towards ScoreCEO, and one of the other reasons why we moved to ScoreCEO. I would have saved a ton of money in legal fees if I would have been in Score throughout that process, because I would have we ended up paying to have, in essence, a forensic investigator go through 30,000 client files of when X happened, when Y happened, when Z happened, to be able to produce that in discovery. And I hope on this call, no one ever has to go through discovery for anything, because you're just typically not in a good spot when that happens. But what Score does, in the sense of you can build a system that is compliant, and you don't have a rogue bad user that could necessarily get you into hot water if you've got employees as well. So that was one of the other really attractive things to me about Score is one, being able to timestamp, but then two, you can't charge a consultation fee until a GFE is approved, right? They've chosen a plan. You can't send them a plan until you've done the consultation. So I can't even collect money without doing a consultation, regardless of if I have some, one of my salespeople, has their aunt that's going to sign up for credit repair. They're going to do it with that person anyways, regardless. They can't just send them an invoice, pay me, and I'll get started, right?
Yeah.
You've got to make the peanut butter and jelly sandwich my way, the same way every time, which is compliant.
Yeah, and that's a common objection that we get with people that come over from other platforms. I'm not going to say the names. We all know the competing companies, and when they say, "Oh, it's the other platforms are not so restrictive," and I said, "And yes, I understand that. That's on purpose. That's by design, and it's because I went through something, and that's the reason why I designed ScoreCEO and built it the way we built it, and I consistently preach compliance on everything that we do. I mean, some of our developers and Masfidas to attest to that. My argument is always, at the end of something really cool, is it compliant? And then I put it through the ringer there, and sometimes we just have to stop doing it. All right, are there any other questions, Jasmine? Because I think we're way over time on this.
I think that was the last question.
Awesome. So just some housekeeping items here. Number one, if you want to take a look at the latest 2 blogs within the last 2 to 3 weeks, go to scoreceo.com and go to choosing the right credit repair service, what clients look for, and is credit repair legal, understanding the law and compliance requirements. Fantastic blogs. Well over, some of these are well over 4,000 or 5,000 words. These are articles, not blogs. Very, very, they're done by Almas and our team. And take a look at them. Go to the website. They're fantastic blogs. Remember, if you need anything done if you need a website or anything like that, go to creditrepairbusinesswebsites.com, which is on ScoreCEO right now. We've combined all of our websites into one website. If you need credit dispute processing and you want to outsource that, and you want to know what it is, there's a big difference between what other companies do, which is be very careful with that. And what we do, go to our outsourcing page and see why we've been doing outsourcing since there was only one other company which is out of business, which is Global Services. Remember that company? Well, yeah, we don't talk to your customers. We don't contribute to them. We do nothing to cross that barrier, and therefore it keeps us away from a lot of the client side disputes. Let's put it that way. Credit repair business education. If you're not subscribed to ScoreCEO, that used to be a product that we used to charge for in the past, I would suggest that you get with somebody on one of our chats and ask for access. There's well over 100 hours of training, legal training by Robbie Birnbaum and Greenspoon and Martyr and Daniel Sater and just experts in the credit reporting realm, John Alzheimer, just all the experts that were in the services, 10 years ago, and they've done content for us through the Credit Repair Summit. If you need to contact anybody, Jasmine, you may want to copy your link inside the chat so somebody can copy that link, and any other links that are that we covered throughout, like the link to become a partner for DisputeArmor and CreditArmor. Why don't you post that link in there if you haven't already, so customers can go ahead and subscribe to CreditArmor and DisputeArmor as well. Our next webinar topics: you're leaving money on the table. Automate with more with these ScoreCEO features. You saw some of that just on the good faith estimate. We'll have a lot more to come with that, and then we're going to be covering that topic on our next webinar. I want to thank you all for staying on for this amount of time. Thank you, Bo and Ms. Vida, for being on the call with me today. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you for sharing with our customers, Bo. You're awesome. Have a great day, everyone.